Arsenal vs Aston Villa. Confirmed team news, predicted lineup and injury latest for Premier League. Mikel Arteta still dealing with injury problems ahead of huge game. Emirates Stadium. Arsenal will hope to have Jurrien Timber back for their crucial match at home to Aston Villa on Tuesday. The Dutchman was left out of the squad for the 2-1 win over Brighton, having failed to recover from an issue he picked up against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. "We missed him because in the last part of the Palace game, he felt something, and he could not carry on, so he's out," Mikel Arteta said on Saturday. It does not appear to be a serious injury, and Timber could return to face Villa, who are on a run of 11 straight wins in all competitions, and would go level on points with Arsenal with a victory. Should Timber be available again, Declan Rice would move back into his midfield role, thus slotting in at fullback. Ricardo Calafiori is a major doubt after withdrawing from the warm-up against Brighton and being replaced in the starting lineup by Miles Lewis-Skelly. In better news for Arsenal, Gabriel has returned from an adductor injury and could make his first start since early November. If Arteta does opt to rotate, those changes are likely to come in attack. Gabriel Jesus continues to look bright when given minutes and could come in for Victor Gyökeres, who again offered little against Brighton. Noni Madueke and Eberechi are also pushing for more involvement, but Gabriel Martinelli could be the one to get the nod on the left wing. Having returned to full first-team training, Kai Havertz is believed to be close to featuring in the match-day squad. Gunners will hope to avenge last gasp Villa Park defeat against Unai Emery's informed side. Aston Villa will be without two regular starters for their high-profile Premier League clash with Arsenal due to suspension. Unai Emery's informed side head to the Emirates Stadium on Tuesday evening for a blockbuster meeting that takes place just over 3 weeks after they sealed a last gasp 2-1 triumph over the leaders at Villa Park, thanks to Emi Buendia's dramatic winner after Matty Cash's opening goal had been cancelled out by Leandro Trossard. However, right-back Cash will play no part in the return fixture against Arsenal after picking up his 5th yellow card of the domestic season during Saturday's 2-1 victory against Chelsea, punished for a late challenge on Alejandro Garnacho on the half-hour mark, Stamford Bridge, that will incur an automatic one-match suspension, with yellow cards in the Premier League not wiped until after the next 19th round of matches. As well as Cash, Villa will also be missing Boubacar Kamara against Arsenal. The French midfielder was the club's only other player on 4 yellows going into the game against Chelsea, and he picked up his 5th with a late foul that will also rule him out of Tuesday's fixture in North London. Being without two key players who have made a combined 45 appearances across all competitions so far this term is a blow to Villa's hopes of pulling off a double against Arsenal, having registered an 11th successive win at Chelsea to equal a club record set in 1897 and 1914 to move just 3 points off top spot, and one adrift of Manchester City in second after their rivals' respective wins over Brighton and Nottingham Forest earlier in the day. Emery will hope to have avoided any fresh injuries against Chelsea, with Pau Torres, Ross Barkley and Tyrone Mings all currently sidelined, while forward Evan Gesson is away with Ivory Coast at the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Arsenal are dealing with something of a defensive crisis again. A left-back Ricardo Calafiori was injured in the warm-up before the Brighton game and replaced in the team by Miles Lewis-Skelly, with Jurrien Timber also ruled out with a knock suffered late on in the Carabao Cup quarter-final win over Crystal Palace. Ben White, Christian Mosquera and Max Dowman are also out for Arsenal, while Kai Havertz has yet to return to first-team action following knee surgery. However, Gabriel made a welcome return off the bench against Brighton, and their one player at risk of a suspension over the busy festive period, midfielder Martin Zubimendi, has managed to avoid a 5th yellow card. Arsenal have lost 3 of their last 5 Premier League matches against Aston Villa. Arsenal and Aston Villa will be heavily impacted by injury and suspension absences for their huge Premier League clash on Tuesday evening. Riccardo Calafiore muscular issue, a major doubt for the Villa game. He was withdrawn during the warm-up against Brighton after feeling awkward discomfort. He will face a late fitness test. Jurriën Timber knock, dealing with a knock that landing awkwardly in the EFL Cup. He missed the Brighton match and remains uncertain for Tuesday. Gabriel Magalhaes returned. In a massive boost, Gabriel made a surprise return from the bench against Brighton and is expected to be available to start against Villa, especially considering the Gunners' defensive injuries. Kai Havertz's knee, very close to a return after a long-term knee injury. He's back in full training, and Mikel Arteta described his availability as a matter of days, making him a potential inclusion for the Villa squad. Ben White thigh, out with a hamstring injury sustained in mid-December. While not considered major, he is expected to be sidelined until early to mid-January. Christian Mosquera, ankle, still recovering from an ankle injury. His return is currently targeted for mid-January. Max Daumann ankle. The youngster is facing a long spell out after suffering significant ankle ligament damage. He's not expected back until early 2026. Aston Villa, injuries and suspensions. Matty Cashban, suspended for the Arsenal game after picking up his 5th yellow card of the season against Chelsea. His absence leaves a hole at right back for the Villains. Boubacar Kamara suspension, also banned for one match after receiving a booking at Stamford Bridge. This is a major blow to Villa's midfield stability. Pau Torres calf, remains sidelined with a calf injury. He is expected to return in early January 2026, meaning he will miss the trip to the Emirates. Tyrone Mings thigh, still recovering from a thigh issue. While he is making progress, Unai Emery has indicated he is still a few weeks away from a first-team return, likely mid-January. Ross Barkley knee, currently out with a knee injury. His recovery timeline is slightly longer than the central defenders, with a return not expected until late January or February. Harvey Elliott illness, missed recent sessions due to illness. He is considered doubtful and will be assessed closer to kick-off. Evan Gessend international duty, unavailable as he has joined up with the Ivory Coast squad for the Africa Cup of Nations,